think I wrote this one at 12 a.m. They're getting later. I think the last one I wrote was at 11 p.m. and this one was written at 12 a.m. Rick is a 25-year-old medical student with past medical history of self-diagnosed chronic fatigue syndrome and insomnia. I don't know if you're watching, Sebastian, but we have improved on our previous question set where we forgot to put an age and a past medical history. At the time of presentation, he was seen shambling across the campus courtyard with a broad-based gait, slouched over and drooling.
He sounds like a second-year medical student.
Alright, witnesses reported seeing him wearing disheveled, tattered clothing, but just assumed it was because of final exams. Collateral information. A concerned neighbor reports that while trapped in the one barely functioning student apartment elevator with him the day before, she noted he was complaining about being hungry before breaking into incoherent ramblings about Final Destination and Tower of Terror.
Random question, was that you?
I'm going to say plausible deniability. Review of systems positive for travel history. He returned from an exchange elective in Japan 2 days ago. One known exposure to a squirrel bite a month ago. No family history of undeath. A fellow student attempted to get close enough to take vitals, but then realized they forgot their stethoscope at home and didn't really feel motivated to run upstairs and get it. They did note a respiratory rate of 5, but weren't really sure, so they recommended someone else double-check that. The student then proceeded to ask if he had a recent corneal transplant or any strange raw meats lately, but the patient was non-responsive except for some incoherent mumbling. In the morning, the second student reports to his attending that Rick clearly has A. Rabies, B. Prion disease, C. Cerebellar degeneration, D. Really bad jet lag, E. Tetrodotoxin toxicity, F. A lesion in the ventromedial hypothalamus, G. Too much free time and should be studying for step 1 instead of shambling about the courtyard, or H. No acute events overnight with stable vitals, and then he leaves to attend a vague mandatory conference.
I like the part where it says he needs to go study for step. That kind of sounds right.
I see.
Rabies.
Rabies? You're going with rabies? Morgan Freeman's going with rabies.
Tetrodotoxin toxicity.
Tetrodotoxin, why?
I don't know, it sounds right.
Sounds right? Sounds right. That's the kind of evidence-based learning that I like to put behind things. We started IV fluids just because. Before I show the answer, I just want to give everybody an opportunity to say what they think the answer is, if anybody is remaining. If the zombies,
we do have 3 people on.
if the zombies have not gotten you yet from our apocalypse. Alright, it is tetrodotoxin toxicity.
Guessing works.
Yeah.
But explain it to me, because I haven't seen this in a while.
Sure. So tetrodotoxin is the correct answer, and there could actually be more than one correct answer because I don't work for UWorld, but you know, this was the most correct answer choice. So he got a squirrel bite. That is a risk because rabies symptoms can take weeks or even years to present because the virus can lay dormant. A corneal transplant can lead to prion disease, but he did not have one. He has no history or evidence to suggest a cerebellar etiology. As we know, the cerebellum is responsible for balance and gait. He recently traveled to Japan. So in Japan, there is a delicacy called fugu.
Oh yeah, fugu.
Yes, fugu is made from pufferfish. Actually, people go to school for years to learn how to properly prepare this dish because it takes only 0.2 milligrams for tetrodotoxin to be lethal. Pufferfish themselves do not produce tetrodotoxin. They are not inherently poisonous, but there's a symbiotic bacteria that actually causes it, and they kind of use this as a defense mechanism, in addition to puffing up and having all those spikes on them. A lot of the symptoms arise from its ability to block sodium channels, so it leads to paralysis of many muscles, including the diaphragm. It's what actually ends up being lethal, the respiratory distress and arrest. But the first symptom that you get and the first sign of toxicity is a tingling sensation in the mouth. That is actually said to be desirable to certain consumers of fugu, and it's a sign of it being prepared expertly. It is also believed by many to be one of the key toxins implicated in the origin of the zombie myth. Also, just for fun, the CDC created a zombie preparedness website. No, you can actually check it out. Here is a poster you can see on the right. Get a kit, make a plan, be prepared, and they have a whole bunch of information there.